Punk Rock Horror Podcast. This is Cody.
This is Matt.
Billy Fuzzy Toes.
Thanks, Billy, for coming on again.
You goddamn right. Happy to be here.
It's
Anyways,
the only show where we the love of horror movies meets the love of punk rock culture. It is Sunday early in the evening, and we're all a little
happy
/ grumpy / exhausted. I think. Yep. Just like that. For all of our audio listeners, Cody just knocked over the bottle.
yeah.
So yeah. We're trying to get him smiling.
So, Matt, what's something you love and hate?
He's all bad.
No, go.
Because we gotta have a meeting.
No, we don't. No, just go.
No, we gotta have a meeting.
No, they don't need to know. Just go.
Well, we could... Billy, why don't you start off since you're the guest?
All right. So, something I love is the keto...
Scapegoat.
Man, fuck you, bitch.
I want to do that to someone now. So bad. So bad.
Only you could, I guess you could, pick up Soul Calibur 6, make a goat-looking character, and then just, over, the match online.
Okay, so can you type out your messages, win, lose?
Yeah, I think you can.
So if you can, I really want to do that now, and just, because you can't say bitch on those things, because, all of them are you made offensive words. I want to go, botch.
No. What you do is you type it in backwards because they still don't recognize it.
Also, if you type in 16 U's in fuck, it won't recognize it as a bad word. I tested that out on Fortnite when I first started playing with Austin.
Oh, wow.
Way back when Fortnite was still cool. And we were just testing this out because he just sent me fuck you, but it was all little asterisks and then just you.
Yeah.
And so I went fuck you, and it actually said, because he was like, "What's taking you so long?" And it's actually said, he's like, "You son of a bitch." Anyways, what do you hate, Billy?
I thought I started off with what I love.
Or love?
Yeah, so what I love is the keto diet. Now, I know there's a lot of controversy, but I started up at the beginning of the year, and I've lost 30 pounds as of last week.
Nice. Congrats, man.
Thank you.
Congrats.
But as of this week, it's 35 pounds, but I do my overall at the end of the week. So this is the start of the week. Mm-hmm. So as of last week, it's 30 pounds. So I do it every Friday. So last week was 30 pounds.
Oh,
so
nice.
I'm at 35 right now, but I don't do it. Because I like doing it week to week to have a consistent,
right.
Consistent measurement.
Yeah. So I do it every Friday. I don't know why. I just...
Yeah, it's a good day.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Hey, end the week on a good note.
Yeah. And also, I think, so with the controversy of the keto diet, I think it's mostly because of, each diet works for different people.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's going to be, some health nuts that say the keto diet is terrible for you, but it's well, if it works for you, it works. The only terrible diet is being bulimic, right? That's the one where you yourself make yourself throw up. And fucking tapeworms.
No, I think that's anorexia. I think bulimic is you can't keep down food or something.
Okay, either way. Bulimia or anorexia, those are the worst ones because that is an actual disorder. And then tapeworms.
And it also comes down to lifestyles. A lot of people don't, because a single mother or father who is working 2 different jobs barely has time to get to the gym, much less count what they're eating, versus as someone who does live more of a bachelor lifestyle, who does have that time, doesn't have as much responsibilities, can commit to more extreme diets too.
Oh yeah, that's the one thing that I was actually upset about. I don't have the time to go back to the gym, and I miss going to the gym. And I noticed I've gained a lot more weight since I stopped going to the gym, and it's just because I don't have the time to burn off those calories. And yes, I know I'm going to hear one of you guys go, "Well, why don't you make onion time?"
Because we ain't always got the time, you son bitch.
I was going to say, what I have to say to you is, I had 2 jobs and help raising a kid, you fucking chicken. I see you do that, you son of a bitch.
Hey,
Privilege.
I always kind of hated that post of, you can always dedicate an hour a day. And I'm like, Bullshit. You don't even know.
Yeah, I was like, I get up, I have to work from 11 to midnight almost every single fucking day. So that means I had to go home. I have just enough time to wind down from work, which I work in a kitchen, so I'm on my feet for 12 plus hours a fucking day. No, I don't want to go to the gym.
No, I will agree. You can like make actual healthier food because like if you already have time when you do dinner and make dinner, like obviously you can make healthier foods. Like
yeah, but then that's time on your days off where you could be doing something more productive. Instead, you got to dedicate that time to pre-plan all your meals for that week and get it all cooked up. So instead of getting your chores done that day, you're having to cook all damn day, so you have a meal for the rest of the damn week.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess what I should have said is like, sorry, I was coming more from my personal perspective, and like this adds into the like every lifestyle is different with their diet. Is that like when I make dinner, it's just for me and Aaron because Lauren's like working at night, and so like obviously like I make smaller portions because Lauren usually just eats at work, and so like it's easier for like people in my lifestyle to do that. But then come back to like what you're saying, Billy, of like it's all that planning that you have to put in though. Like it doesn't work for everyone, right? And so, but that's what it goes back into is lifestyles. It's all about no one takes in the type of lifestyle someone else lives.
Yeah, because everybody's day to day is different. So my day to day from Cody's is different. My day to day to you, Matt, that's different.
Right.
So just because keto works for me, because I have that extra hour in the morning to make my meals, doesn't mean you have that extra hour in the morning to make your meals.
No. I have like 15 minutes I have to get ready and get out the door.
Yeah, that's how mine is too. Like, because I get home by midnight and like I should be in bed by like 1 on just be able to like get enough sleep. But I'm not. I'm up to like 3 or 4 because I've been working all day. I want to do something for myself.
But for me, I started the year off at 306 pounds. That's the heaviest I've ever been. Now I'm down to 175 pounds.
Fuck yeah.
Or 275 pounds.
Fuck yeah.
So my overall goal is 180 to 170. So I still got 100 pounds to go. But,
you're already halfway there.
I wish it was halfway.
Just over halfway there. Anyway, so Billy, what do you hate?
So I wouldn't say I hate, but it just annoys the ever-living hell out of me is people who are afraid of snakes. And it's like, snakes are just sentient meat noodles who can only bite and squeeze. That's different from a damn lion.
Don't say dog, don't say dog, don't say dog.
Like, a lion's a hell of a lot more scary. That thing will run you down and eat you right there on the spot.
Yeah, it hunts. Snakes are scavengers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, your snake's stretching out so it can eat you. No, it fucking ain't. If a snake does that in the wild, that thing's gonna die right there. If it has to pre-plan on what it's gonna eat, we wouldn't have damn snakes to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, and like I just remember this like coverage of like rattlesnakes like a couple years back of like how they were going almost extinct down. I think it was like in Texas.
Yeah, so that's the western diamondback rattlesnake. They're the ones going extinct. Colorado has the prairie and western diamondback.
Right.
But it turns out that the venom from the western diamondback research is being shown that the venom is helping breast cancer research being the most effective treatment out there. That's why snakes are always associated with medical symbols.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
And that's why they're going extinct, so the pharmaceutical companies could rake in more money. Conspiracy confirmed.
Well, the thing is with them, they actually have captive-bred rattlesnakes.
Mm-hmm.
So, something I saw the other day, I know this don't mean shit to you, but they found a pied rattlesnake. That means it's a mostly white rattlesnake with small coloration in it.
Mm-hmm. That's actually kind of cool.
I was kind of hoping it was a snake in the shape of a pie. But
I know. It's just like...
I mean, if you wrap it up just right, it'll be like pie.
She's my cherry pie.
Just don't let the guy from American Pie get to it.
That was a double oh.
The snake bit my dick.
And
now we're on the plane.
Yeah.
Those are rare on the podcast when we both go aw at the same time.
All right, Matt.
So something I love and hate is I'll do something I hate first. Is I kind of hate how everyone's kind of like coming to defend like Michael Jackson's grave ever since like his documentary came out because it was called like Finding Neverland, and like it interviewed a lot of the victims from them, like, were assaulted by Michael, and like they actually like talked to them, interviewed them, talked about their experience. It was like very like groundbreaking. So much to the fact that Oprah Winfrey like came out and like changed her stance on supporting him completely, and like there's just been like this whole talk of like oh, it's like kind of defending him and saying like, oh well, you know, he's dead, we shouldn't be talking about him like that. And I'm like, oh no, fuck that. Like, yeah, like no one's arguing that the dude's like one of the biggest music sensations ever. No one's saying that.
They're saying he touched kids and there's proof.
And you can listen to his music if you want. You don't have to. But like the dude, if the dude was a fucking terrible person, he was a terrible person. Not saying he didn't have his flaws. We all do, but Jesus, like touching a kid, like come on, man, like
not just one, several,
and that's the thing, like that's the thing that kind of like bugs the shit out of me, is that like, you know, like we like ridiculed and like held up our pitchforks against Bill Cosby and Kevin Spacey and Harvey Weinstein when their allegations came out, again for different reasons, but still, like if you're willing to like put them under a whole new light, you have to do the same for Michael, pure and simple.
Because kids are our future until they cause a problem.
Well, fucking though, but straight up though.
And fuck those kids. I'm just saying that's like the mindsetting of all this shit. It's like, oh, like okay, so for instance, if Donald Trump came out and like the same thing happened to him, everybody would be like, we need to kill this motherfucker, except for the KKK. But if someone, if like, let's see, who's someone that everyone loves right now? Tom Hanks. If Tom Hanks came out that Tom Hanks, love you, Tom Hanks. I'm just using you as an example, by the way.
Hypothetical.
Just saying, you're a fantastic human being.
How's Wilson doing?
He's dead. But if Tom Hanks, like if that came out, like, you know, I feel like right now everyone would be up in pitchforks about it and stuff like that. Right. But like at the same time, there'd be a lot of people defending him. But if it came out that, you know, Michael Jackson was raping men and women, totally different story.
Right.
But it's like, it's a scary thing that the fact that, like, because it was kids, everyone's like, he did Thriller.
Right. Like, but it also makes me mad because, like, it was on a podcast I was listening to where they were asking time, like, well, how would you feel, like, you know, if this news came about you and you left this great life? I'm like, if I'm already fucking dead, I wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah, I'm dead.
Like,
again.
I'm dead. Like, yeah, whatever plane of existence I'm on at that point, that's old Matt's problem, not mine.
A necrophiliac can skull fuck the shit out of me, but I'm dead. I'm not going to care. You know why? Because I'm dead.
Yeah, it'd be cream filled like a Krispy Kreme.
And I wouldn't care. You know why? Because I'm dead.
Fucking dead. Why do you think, like, I understand, like, maybe his family's upset, and that's different, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about his dead, decaying corpse. It's probably dead and decayed, but not probably dead. It is dead. That's probably decayed at this point, and it's fucking...
That worm's finger fucked the shit out of him, just like he did the kids.
And, like, I understand if you're like, oh, well, this sounds really distasteful, guys. Again, the dude touched kids and is fucking dead.
Yeah. Hey, Ron, like, here's a fun fact for you. Morticians actually put in a butt plug in all dead bodies, and the butt plug screw shaped to prevent post-anal leakage during a funeral.
And now we know.
Yep. So you're still getting the anal job done even when you're dead.
It's really funny thinking about people who hate gay people. Now they got to screw up their ass for the rest of eternity.
Good.
So...
Because they're dead.
Yeah, it's just that was just fucking dumb. I think people are being dumb about it. I'm like, just hate the dude. Fucking hate him. Like,
hate him, love him, just make up your damn mind. The dude diddled a kid, and that ain't right.
So, and that's just the thing. And so the thing I love, I'm actually going to change, but make it more encompassing, is that I love there's just, like, new seasons of a lot of my favorite shows back on Netflix. There's season 3 of Into the Badlands, season 3 of Queer Eye. You know, Mindhunter's coming back with a season 2 soon here. I'm excited for that.
Queer.
I don't know why you don't like it so much.
I don't know why either. Like, honestly, the few episodes I watched with you was like heartwarming and stuff, and I was like, oh, good for those people. You know, those are great guys.
They are.
But I still hate the show.
I don't know why. We're going to watch it more. And also
they're good people. Like, I have nothing against them. They're great people. And I think it's really cool that they go out and help these people with their own personal lives and
It's
stuff.
like if Skittles were live people.
Yeah. But I still hate that show. Maybe I'm just jealous because I'm like, where the fuck are they in my life? You know?
Well, get fucking nominated, son bitch. Have Matt nominate you, then you can shut the fuck up.
I know, I'm waiting for it.
I thought about it. I really thought about it. I'm like, I wonder how much he hates it.
Well, quit thinking about it and just do it.
I think they have to be in your city, because I actually did read up on how you get nominated. And so when they go to a new city and like do a whole new show, they actually do an open casting and they announce it in your city. So like the new season's set in Kansas. And so like they did a whole open casting. I actually did like read one of the AMAs from one of the people who appeared on season 3. I won't give it away which one, but like it's
my rants are too long.
Well, he was wondering. But anyways, I just love that there's new seasons on Netflix, and Love, Death, and Robots is fucking amazing. It's a beautiful, beautiful like collection of short movies. Check it out if you haven't. But Cody, what's something you love and hate?
Something I hate is actually everything that's around Captain Marvel. It's a terrible movie.
Yeah.
Like it, it's a decent movie. But when you go into like wanting to watch a Marvel movie, it's terrible. It's definitely bottom of the barrel, and that has nothing against like a strong woman being the fucking lead, which is like what most of the controversy was against. Which honestly, I think was.
No,
I'm not gonna say
the
fake
controversy
news.
was her not wanting to be interviewed by a white man. She wanted to be more.
No, it wasn't.
That was the only one I knew about.
She also said she didn't want men to come see it. She only wanted women to come see it. Blah blah blah. Whatever. The biggest thing that I heard about it was just the fact that that everyone focused in on was the fact that it was a woman lead in a Marvel movie, and I was like, okay, Wonder Woman already did, and it was a fantastic movie. Why should we hate on this because it's a leading woman? No one fucking cares that it's a woman leading a movie. No one gives a shit.
We just want a good Marvel movie.
Yeah. The thing I hated about it personally is the fact that it's Captain Marvel, because Captain Marvel is a garbage fucking character in the comics. And they're like, it's leading up to Secret Invasion. She got her ass kicked in Secret Invasion. She played no role. Nothing in the Secret Invasion if you read the comics, except for
Norman Osborn didn't bore.
Yeah, except for getting her ass kicked by the Skrulls and then getting her ass kicked by Nick Fury. That's what Carol Danvers did. That's what the most powerful MCU character, which is still fucking bullshit by the way, which I think is garbage.
Oh, completely.
Did during the biggest story arc that she should have been the center of. She got her ass kicked. Was terrible in Civil War 2. Is a terrible character in the comics. Carol Danvers is such a shitty character. And I'm sorry if you are a Captain Marvel fan. Well, fucking you need better taste in female women in fucking comic books if you're doing it just because she's a female. The movie was wooden. It was just bad. They ruined Samuel L. Jackson and Nick Fury. Like the whole entire twist about his eye from Winter Soldier, shit on it. They were so focused on throwing the Tesseract in there, which made no points. Another big old plot hole that was completely shitty and pointless. And they changed the gender swap of Marvel, the Kree soldier, didn't care about. Still a shitty character, which is sad because it was portrayed by a really good actress. And that part was really good, but shitty way. They changed her origin, which is super shitty also. The whole movie was just bad. There's a reason it dropped 69% from the opening weekend of viewership. It's a bad movie. Well, so get off your fucking high horse. Don't stop defending it. It's a bad movie. Just accept it. It's okay that the MCU isn't 100% great all the time.
I agree with you. And the thing is that I'm not the biggest Captain Marvel fanboy, but I've read stories in the comics where she's actually fucking good. And I've had this conversation with you, is that when Marvel ever wants to push her, they write her in the most terrible ways every fucking time. It's when they put her in a non-sequential kind of role that is just kind of maybe we'll go somewhere where we won't. That she does fucking great. When she was the lead of the Avengers in the Mighty Avengers spinoff, that was actually good. I liked her story in that because you can actually get behind her at that point. But whenever they want to push her, they do it in the worst ways possible.
Yeah, so that's the biggest thing I hate, because I keep seeing more and more stuff about Captain Marvel, and I'm just just let it go. It's Iron Man 3, basically. It's the Marvel movie everyone. So Iron Man 3 is a Marvel movie everyone openly hates.
Yeah.
But this is the Marvel movie no one wants to openly hate because they're going to be called sexist or whatever. And it's fucking stupid. You know what? Good for Marvel for having a female-led movie, but I feel if they wanted to the first Marvel female-led movie, they should have done the Black Widow movie 5 years ago.
Yeah.
That would have been a great origin story, because there's so much to an origin that would have been fantastic, and everyone already loves Black Widow, and everyone loves Black Widow in the comics. I have never, ever, 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 in all the cons I've gone to and all the nerdy shit I talked about people, have never heard someone go, Captain Marvel is fantastic. I've heard Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan,
Yeah.
But I've never heard someone legitimately say they like Carol Danvers because she's a piece of shit.
Right.
She is. She's the worst fucking person on the Avengers team.
That's where her best stories are at, is when they emphasize that. Because when they pretend she's anything else,
she's
when
fucking
she
Maria.
fucking sucks.
Okay, if everyone remembers the first Civil War and how shitty Maria Hill was and how everyone hated Maria Hill, that's Carol Danvers. 100%. That's how she should be portrayed. She should be portrayed as a fucking shitty human being because she is a shitty human being. The best portrayal I've ever seen Captain Marvel in is in the cartoon Avengers.
Right.
That's the only time she was cool. But yeah, that's the thing that I hate, and it's just let it fucking die. And let's be honest, everyone only went to see that movie so they could get a piece of Endgame. That's it.
Yeah, it's the only reason I went.
That's the only reason anybody went and saw that movie. No one truly liked it. Everyone has their issues with it. It's a terrible MCU movie.
I like Goose.
Goose is a terrible fucking thing, too. I hate that fucking... It's just Groot. It's just Groot as a cat. That's all you need to know.
I kept thinking of Top Gun, hoping the cat would die.
It should have. It would have. You know what? It would have given the whole entire movie some actual feeling. But anyways, the thing that I love is the Hellboy comics. So I'm like way behind on that whole entire thing because it came out in the 90s.
Shit. In the omnibus, it dated 89.
Oh, 89. Shit, even longer. Well, the artwork in that is modern. Like, that artwork is way ahead of its time when you really think about it. Especially back to, like, if you look at 80s.
The artwork really helps the narrative.
It does. And it's one of the few horror comics that I've read that, like, I actually get nervous and, like, have feelings of horror in. And you never think Hellboy's going to lose or anything or going to die. Like, you never have that feeling, but it's the fact that even though he's this most powerful being, he actually is the most powerful being on Earth. Like, you still, like, are worried that he's going to get trapped somehow and stuff like that because they do his forgetfulness, unlike Captain Marvel, in the best way where he doesn't care. He's just like, fuck it, this is the life I know, this is the life I'm going to do. And Captain Marvel, you're like... Sorry, I'm gonna stop. Lay off Captain Marvel. It's a fucking shitty movie.
I mean, what I love about the Hellboy
Anyways, but Hellboy is like they break it up too. So then the omnibuses, there's 4 volumes, and then there's 2 volumes of short stories with it. And what they do is really good because those short stories are different side stories. But even in the main canon omnibuses, what they do really well is they tell side stories. So you know he's not going to die or none of the characters are going to die in these side stories that are key to the main plot. But you still get nervous for him. And the horror in it's just so good. So good.
Yeah, so. What I like is that, yeah, sure, Hellboy just got stabbed in the last panel, but he got stabbed because he didn't want to see his friend get hurt or killed. Yeah. So you can actually see the emotional tension between him and the other characters.
Mm-hmm. And it's not just Liz like in the first Hellboy movie, it's all of them. Yeah. And they definitely do and I feel like they show the relationship between Hellboy and Abe so freaking good. And reading those and seeing his relationship with Abe in the movies with Ron Perlman makes so much more sense. And I feel like they did that such good justice because like they are best friends and brothers. Like, and like they even say like, you've known me forever, you know how I'm feeling. And it's like, I know, but we still need to talk about it. And it's so good. So yeah.
Yeah, and I still hear Ron Perlman's voice when I read the Hellboy comic.
I do too.
Yeah.
So moving on from that, we're gonna do something a little different with this. Mostly because there's not a whole lot of like good horror movies based off video games. I mean, there's very, 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 very few horror movies based off video games that are actually good that aren't like the animated ones or just like based off of the big horror movies that you already know about, like Silent Hill and Resident Evil. But anyways,
go ahead.
I would say so. What we're gonna kind of do is like. Matt's going to be... He has his movie, and I'm kind of going to be talking about more of, like, the actual horror video games.
Figured since it's a video game episode, maybe do something a little different this time.
Yeah, so me and Billy are going to kind of, like, talk about more of our favorite, like, horror movie video games, and we'll talk about some of the movies, mostly Resident Evil.
It's going to give it to you.
And guess who actually found the best Resident Evil horror movie? Matt did with his movie.
Yes, I did. There's one actually I wanted to do that wasn't available on Amazon. But luckily I had this saved in my account. I think it's Damnation.
Oh, that one was good.
The second one.
Yeah, that one was really good.
With like that scene of like the two of them with their pistols, or one with the pistol, one with like the MP3 just like in the hallway. I wanted to watch that one. That one.
MP4, MP3 is a music player.
She was blasting her tunes, dude.
I know what I said. I'm gonna take it back. People tune in for my nice, adorable mistakes I make.
And I fucking correct you a lot.
That's an MP4, nerd.
At least I got my information correct, you son of a bitch.
Nerd. So I think I finished last time.
I was just gonna have you go since you're the only one with an actual movie review.
Okay, cool. So I decided to do Resident Evil Degeneration, which I actually bought this movie and keep it in my catalog because I loved it that much. Which came out in 2008. Oh, it was great. Directed by Makoto Kamiya, written by Shotaro Shuga and Shinji Mikami. Stars Paul Mercer, Allison Court, and Laura Bailey. And the premise is Leon S. Kennedy and Claire Redfield must battle rogue warrior seeking revenge after unleashing the deadly G virus, whilst a mutated monster goes on a rampage. So it's like half right and half wrong. So the mutated monster doesn't really go on a rampage till like near the end of the film. It's more so just a breakout of zombies, which is the basic way to explain it. And it makes more sense that way. But so going in, it's all done CG. Like if you saw the original like Final Fantasy movie, it's kind of like what we're thinking here, but a little less quality on that. And for the most part, the animation is really good. Like it's good throughout the film. It definitely looks like cutscenes that you would see within the video game. It just kind of put together, and for the most part, it does a really good job with that. You know, and there's points where like the animation is kind of like grainy and blech. Like you can tell just some of the rendering wasn't too well done in certain scenes.
See, I know something about that. So the rendering. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay.
When it comes to rendering, it does what it renders as the animator made it. So why it looked grainy is because of the post-production.
Right.
The post-production added the graininess. There is no graininess during a 3D rendering. If it's there, it's because of what's called particle effects. Particle effects is what makes mist, fog, clouds, and all that other bullshit. So if it's grainy, it's because it was done intentionally, done through After Effects.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that makes a little more sense then.
This is why we have you here.
Goddamn right.
To let them know when they're at the door. So,
okay.
So with that being said, sorry for the quick distraction on me talking to Cody right there. With that being said, it's like the animation does hold up. It's still really good. And what I do like about it is that they kind of keep the zombies traditional, that they move slowly. They don't always move fast unless they see food in front of them. But for the most part, they kind of just like hobble around and are really slow. Like they're to some point where it's actually kind of hilarious because when a plane crashes into this airport, zombies get off of the plane, but because they don't have complete control of their motor functions, they just kind of plop down. So like, and so it's more comical at that point. And so I thought it was funny, but I do like how they keep it the traditional zombie look. They don't go overboard. It makes me kind of think of, oh man, I feel so bad now. It was the prequel to Train to Busan. We did a review on it, and I just had it on top of my head.
Soul Station.
Soul Station, thank you. It makes me think of how the zombies in Soul Station looked, because it's very like dark, grainy, gray skin, and it was white, milky eyes. I just liked it. It was really good. Also, what I like about this is that it definitely has that very B action horror movie-esque to it when like Leon comes in, and if you have never played any of the Resident Evil games, it's going to come off as like the very cheesy like hero who's just like, oh, he knows what he's doing. He's wearing a leather jacket. All he uses a pistol. Badass. But if you play the games, like, you know, Leon actually has experience with fighting the T-Virus and, like, zombies and alligators and shit, like, mutated ones. So, like, he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, so where in the timeline does this movie fall between games?
So, from what I find out is that this happens sometime after Resident Evil 2.
Okay.
But before Resident Evil 4.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I know there's
That's
the
why
T
he's-
virus and then the G virus.
Yeah.
Because the G virus is Resident Evil 4 and on.
Because
isn't
this
it?
movie introduces you
The
to...
Las Plagas.
No, I
Yeah.
thought G was the first, T was the second.
No.
G
is
was the first.
Yeah.
Okay.
G's the evolved strain, and it also introduces you to, I think it's what is that company that becomes prominent later on in the series? It's like something Cell. It's like Supercell or something like that. Or,
Supercell, that's Dragon Ball
no,
Z.
it's Supercell.
No, that's Clash of Clans.
No, it's not Super. Anyways, Tricell.
Tricell.
Introduces you to the Tricell Corporation and Will Pharma, and so like it does add in a good amount of lore. But when it brings in Leon, like there's this whole military response to this outbreak in this airport, and they're like, okay, how do we go in? How do we take this down? And I kind of held it as a little bit of a con because apparently still zombies aren't a thing in this world, even though the events of Raccoon City are mentioned.
Is Raccoon City an American town?
Yes.
So, but then
It's Chicago.
Oh, Chicago.
Yeah,
so
and where this takes place is also in an American city too, but it's like
No.
an undisclosed one. It's a
It might be New York.
either way.
No,
though.
I think it's Chicago because it's surrounded by plains.
But either way,
Anyways,
so
well, it's based off a big city.
so the military officials and the combat response team, like apparently have never experienced a zombie.
Can you rewind to where you were?
No, we're cool. It's okay.
So sorry for the all of a sudden thing where we're like zombie, and now we're totally talking about something.
yeah,
different.
we had to pause. The wives and the kiddos had to walk in, and it was a whole thing.
Wife.
Wife. Sorry, I was thinking wife, but I thought kids at the same time, so I went wives. Trying to say kids as well.
Like your wife.
Because my brain,
The family.
my brain works like mashed potatoes. It all just kind of smooshes together. Anyways, so back to it. So I love the part of Leon and the actual like military response team and the SRT team responding to him and listening to him and be like, no, I know what I'm talking about. It's just going to be me and 2 other people. Mm-hmm. I don't want to increase the bodies of like zombies that we could have in there.
Yeah.
And so they're like, no, we need to go with the whole battalion. He's like, no, again, unless you want to kill your friends, we're just going in, just me and 2 other people. Mm-hmm. And they're like, okay. And I love that. I like that they actually listen to it because there's so many like zombie films and horror films where they don't listen to the person that has actual experience. And so I'm glad it was just kind of like this quick over of like, okay, it's done. Let's go in there and shoot shit in the head. And it was also just nice to see Leon and Claire. Because I know if like you're a Resident Evil or Biohazard fan, it's just they're staples, they're gaming staples, and it's just nice to see them fully fledged out and rendered in a CG movie. So that was just cool. And also the movie does a decent, like, good job of giving backstory for all the characters. So even like the new antagonists that you see in the Senator in there as well, they explain their backstories and why their story matters. The one thing I will say that didn't matter that kind of bugged the shit out of me, but it was more of a WTF, was that like Claire just kind of like comes to the airport, like she has an airplane arrival into the airport, and she's meeting just like just a random like aunt and kid, and he never explained why. Maybe they do in like a follow-up game or like the next movie. I don't know why. It's just like, oh, she's there and there's this kid. Cool, whatever. But no, they give a good story. They give a good job explaining all the backstories and why there is this new virus. And why the guy who is, they find out the terrorist blowing up all the Will Pharma trucks is doing this and why he's doing it. Because you find out after, all these passengers and all these people in this airport turn into zombies that there's a bigger conspiracy going on, that Will Pharma had basically took the T virus, the very last strand of it, after what happened in Raccoon City, and manufactured the G virus vaccine. Mm-hmm. And this was done to fight the continuing zombie horde. And instead, what always happens in every Resident Evil is when someone tries to do scientific with what they shouldn't, big huge fucking mutant monsters come out of the wet work. But going more so into my cons, there are cutaway shots in this movie, and it's boo. Like, it just kind of really bums the shit out of me that there's cutaway shots. Like, even from the get-go. Like, when you see one of the armed guards of the Senator get, like, his neck about to be bent, it cuts away and shows, like a clock. And I'm just like, why? Like, it's fucking Resident Evil. Like, And because at the time this movie came out, Resident Evil 4 already came out, like, we see dudes' heads blow up and, like, giant worm monsters come out of it. Why can't we see it? Like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Like, and it was just bugging me, because there was a lot of, like, kills that would have been great if it wasn't cut away.
Well, did you ever look in to see if they had censorship in it for this movie? Because a lot of times movies coming from Japan get censored for American audiences because they don't pass the American standard censorship.
Well, that's the thing, though, is if it only will reach that it depends where it's going to go. So this was a direct Blu-ray. This didn't like go to any theater or anything else.
No, but still, even Blu-rays still get censored before they even get here. They have to pass the American censorship to be produced here in America.
Well, even if that's the case...
Ju-on's actually highly censored for the American audience.
Well, I'm not going to let that get away from this, because if we could have Feast on DVD with all the shit that it shows...
But that was produced here.
Yeah, that's the sad part.
That was produced here? Well, no, what about what about Audition?
I don't know anything about
Audition literally shows the entire scene of a guy getting his foot cut off with razor wire.
Well, see,
I think it's
here's the
wire.
thing: the live action and anything under the category of animation, whether it be 2D, cell, or 3D animation, gets under different censorship than live action movies.
Huh.
So they're both under
The
two
more
different
you know.
categories.
And knowing is half the battle.
Well, then what about movies like the Parasite movies that come here that are made in Japan? I mean, and they still come here, and I'm sure they have to go under censorship, but they still show all this blood and guts.
Well, is that movie live action or animated?
The animated ones.
I don't know anything about that, but you gotta understand different.
Parasite Eve or the Parasite Plus, is that what the one you're talking about?
I
The
can't
one where
remember.
the dude's hand turns into the little.
Yeah, but the animated one, not the live action one.
The animated one is an anime, not a movie.
But that's my whole point.
But no,
is that they mean
movies are different. It's weird. It's all this weird like
red
subculture
tape
thing. Yeah, red tape type thing. So,
But now we got streaming services where they can bypass
Okay, so
a lot of that.
So maybe I'll take that away. If that's the case, then I won't let that be a con. But I'm still gonna make it a con because it's a cutaway and it still bums the shit out of me.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, I this movie is like a solid 2 out of 5 buckets of gore because it's so the blood that's in the movie, like it does blood splatter well, and that's where it seems it's most gory. And that's kind of it. Like, when you see our terrorist guy turn into the big mutant, it's not a very gory transformation. And, like, none of it as gory. Like, it's good blood effects, but anything over the top, you don't get to see. You maybe get to see one zombie ran over by an airplane, and that's kind of it.
So, sorry to interrupt, but like a lot of that stuff was stuck due to the limitations of PCs at the time.
Well, no, and I get that, but I'm still like, this is still going to be the rating system. Like, even if it was higher computers and they still kept it like the way they do it now, it'd still be a 2 out of 5 buckets of gore, no matter what. Because if I could see like heads being ripped off or like an arm being like eaten up, you know, like I would increase that rating. But that doesn't mean that the movie's bad at all. That's not the case. It's just what to expect with gore in this movie. Another con though is that it does keep with some like frustrating tropes of one of the military response teams, one of the members goes off on her own and won't listen to Leon when he tells her to not go off on her own because she starts hearing moaning of a zombie. Mm-hmm. And Leon's like, oh, that's the Song of the Dead. And so like she runs off and he's like, no, don't go. And she still goes and almost gets all of herself, Leon, and the other guy they're with killed. And that was a con because I just felt like that was just... it just made me mad. And then, so here's another frustrating thing. So Leon, he's briefing his 2 teammates, Angela and I forget the other guy's name, as they're going to the airport to go on their mission. Tells them in the helicopter, you have to shoot them in the head. They only go down that way. Shoot them in the head. No other way. Just shoot them in the head. He's just basically saying, shoot them in the head. Right? No one listened to him when they see their first zombie and shoot at the body. They shoot at the arms. They shoot at their legs. And they're like, what's this? And Leon's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I just said, shoot him in the goddamn head. Like, we were in the helicopter together. Like, were you not listening, you jackass? Like, And then you had this dude, like, waste an entire clip of his M4. I got it right this time.
MP4.
And fuck it, whatever.
Just gonna sit here and enjoy that.
And he wastes the whole clip shooting zombies. Some of them get shot in the head, but other ones are still alive. And he's like, I don't understand. And Leon's like, God damn it.
Because an M4 is an assault rifle.
Either way.
Just saying.
Yeah.
It's a semi-automatic, and by the way, it's a magazine. Clips don't have a spring in it. Magazines do.
I don't give a shit. The thing I give a shit about is that Leon told him to shoot him in the head. And he just fucking, like, is surprised when he doesn't shoot him in the head. Like,
and submachine guns and MP5.
Like, apparently you are literally the special response team. So, and then another thing I hold is that there's a lot of sob stories throughout this movie, and it can take a toll at some point. Because, like, someone's always, like, kind of crying about something that happened in the past. Yeah. They're like, after his mother died, like, sad music and whatnot. And it's just, that just bugged the shit out of me. With that being said, though, like, this is actually, like, one of the better, like, Resident Evil movies. Because not only does it keep true to its lore, and it's actually fun action to watch, and it is, like, straight up horror movie. Like, this is more so reminds me of, like, the first Resident Evil, like the live action with Mila Jovovich. Mm-hmm. Like, I loved it. It had that perfect, like, cold, dark atmosphere to it the entire time that it needed. And it was just such a, like, an intense movie of how are our two heroes going to get out of this? How are they going to fight this giant mutant that's basically invulnerable to everything? And it was just a good, like, horror film based on a video game. The one WTF I do have for it, though, that I felt like was a good point is, so Senator Davis is in this whole controversy of, like, making the G virus and that is making people into zombies, right? So he's at this airport and they're like, we need to get you out of here. And he's like, I need to get out of here. And he's like, people are going to recognize me. What should I do? So instead of, like, making him change his outfit and, like, put a hoodie on, or even just putting the hoodie on, you know what they do? They just have him wear a baseball cap. He just does this, and his bodyguards still stand around him. I'm like, yeah, no one's gonna fucking recognize Senator G. Davis in his fucking suit with a baseball hat on with the four biggest, like, fucking dudes in the entire complex walking around. Yeah, no one's gonna recognize him.
Oh, who's that? Is that Cody?
And guess what? And guess what? No, literally, as he walks out, a little girl recognizes him right away. And I'm like, well, what the fuck was that for? Like,
why is Brad Pitt wearing a baseball cap?
It just sounds like they're calling out their own bullshit.
Like, it's just, maybe it was, but it's just like, were they, like, in this room? It's like, okay, we have a doctor's outfit, we have a hazmat suit, oh, we have, like, this dress and this wig, you can dress up as a lady, no one will recognize you at all. Oh, we also have this, like, human-sized backpack, and we can kind of just pick you up and take you. These are all really good disguises, but you know what'd be better? This one baseball cap. No one would be the wiser. And it fucking infuriated me, and I'm just like, well, of course everyone's gonna notice him. What was the point of that? Like, yeah. So, anyways, some trivia about it.
4 and 5.
Yeah. So there you go. Now we know it takes place. The events of this movie take place between Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 5. So that's my mistake. Claire Redfield and Leon Kennedy and Ingrid Hunnigan are the only characters that come from the video game series and voiced by the same actors. The first Resident Evil movie using computer graphics instead of live action. And in around 23 minutes, the Umbrella... Oh, yeah, I should have noted this. So the Umbrella Claire Redfield takes as a weapon when exiting the VIP lounge is colored the same way as the Umbrella Corp logo. Claire even jokes about this during the scene. I feel like I want to do a better one than that, because I feel like that was kind of like of a lame
scene in which Claire and Leon meet is a reenactment of how they met in Resident Evil 2. In the game, Leon runs towards the diner and sees Claire being faced off with a zombie. He says, "Get down!" and shoots the zombie. Claire then looks at his face and he offers her his hand. In the movie, Claire goes off to look for a survivor that she hears running around. She looks out the corner of a wall to hear Leon say, "Get down!" He shoots the zombies and offers Claire his hand as he says, "Leon!"
Exactly. Alright. And with that was my review.
Oh, hold on. This is one. The G-virus creature Curtis is a direct resemble of the same mutated monster of William Birkin of Resident Evil 2.
And now you know.
Yep.
So, that was my review of Resident Evil Degeneration, or Biohazard Degeneration, depending what parts of the world you're in. Yeah, so Cody, Billy.
Yeah, so I had trouble.
And I did find credits for you, so you can actually, like, introduce people that might not even know about it, even though I doubt it, but still.
All right, so like I said at the beginning of the episode, we're actually doing this one a little different because it was really hard to find like a good horror movie based off a video game, or even one that I really wanted to do. I was thinking about doing one of the Resident Evil movies, the live action, but instead, me and Billy are going to kind of talk about more about like the Resident Evil games. It's going to be pretty much a Resident Evil heavy episode. And other horror games with a little touch on other horror games, but kind of like the comparisons of the movies and the effects the movies have on the games too. So like so what sparked this entire what sparked us to do the video game horror video games again was actually Resident Evil 2 remake. The remake of Resident Evil 2, quick synopsis, remake of Resident Evil 2, which was made back in 1998, instead the 2019 version is made with a third-person over-the-shoulder view, new details, rearranged, new areas, no more loading screen doors, new puzzle-solving opportunities, and a gunpowder crafting mechanic and more. There's more to it. But basically what happens is, if you never played the Resident Evil 2 video game, the zombie outbreak is over the entire city, but most of the game takes place within a police station and a secret underground science facility. But yeah, so Billy, you played the Resident Evil games?
I haven't finished it yet, but I know I'm farther than you.
Yeah, well, I mean Resident Evil games in general, not just 2.
So I like to watch the Let's Plays.
Mm-hmm.
So I like I'm more of a Halo player.
Okay.
So, but I love the Resident Evil Silent Hill games, but Resident Evil 2 remake.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only reason I got back into it.
Oh, nice.
So, but have you seen the Resident Evil 2 meme going around?
Which one?
The Mr. X meme. Every time he shows up, and they start playing the song "X Gonna Give It to You."
That'd make the game so much better. So much better.
So now every time he shows up, all I can think about X gonna give it to you. X gonna give it to you. X gonna give it to you.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Same. But like the thing that I like about the Resident Evil games is that they do horror really well, even including the super super cheesy first one, because there are still a couple zombie points that make me poop myself when they just come because of the fixed camera. But like when compared to the movies. So, like, the first Resident Evil movie is the only one I will argue is straight up a horror movie. Like, that's the only one out of all of them. There's, 7? 8? 6?
Yeah, I think it's just 6.
And, like, the thing that I think that sucks is that, so the Resident Evil movies are kind of, like, in my opinion, to the horror genre as Michael Bay was to any action movie.
Well, at least there ain't a shitload of American flags all over the fucking place.
Yeah, no, instead of it's just Mila Jovovich being naked at least once. Jovovich, what? Anyway, like, the thing that that sucks, that I feel like is a sucky thing that with the Resident Evil movies, because, like, yeah, they do play some fanfare and fan service, but like I said in the last episode, Silent Hill did it more better because they told their own story within that universe, while the Resident Evil movies, they kind of tried to do it, but then they started leaning more towards fan service with the creatures, the monsters, the big bads.
Yeah, and now this is powers.
Yeah, and then they started leaning more towards action, especially in the later movies. Like, you can see it definitely in the second one. They were going for more the cheesy B-movie-esque type thing instead of going with the more horror-oriented like the first one. But I think that's what also sucked about how it bled into the video games, because Resident Evil 5 came out and Resident Evil 6 came out, and they were way more action oriented. And that's what, like, I know, like, a lot of people liked 5, but, like, that's what I think kind of ruined them, is that they weren't horror anymore. And that's what people want Resident Evil for. They want to play it for horror games, horror feeling, get scared. Yeah. The intimidation, not having ammo, deciding between whether you need to pick up this key and drop your herb, which you'll never get again, or like pick up ammo or something like that. Always having like, what do I need to survive? And I think that's one thing that Resident Evil 2 Remake did really, really fucking well. Like, I know I was talking to you, I was like, I have so much fucking ammo right now, and it scares me. Like,
yeah, so where I'm at, I'm underground,
mm-hmm.
and It's like as soon as you get out back into the underground parking, the dogs show up.
Oh, fuck that. I don't know.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
The
dogs are actually worse than the lickers. The lickers actually take time to get to you, but the dogs are up in your shit quick.
Nice. I'm excited, but scared at the same time.
So like when I saw the dogs in the kennels, I was like, ah, shit. Well, time to relive old Yeller and my dog Skip. Ding, 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 ding. Well, now they're all dead. Because I don't fucking trust it. It's like, they're all in their kennels, but Resident Evil, you take...
They'll somehow get out.
Yeah, they're going to get out. I was like, I'm going to take care of this shit now. I know I'm going to be low on ammo. But, like, one thing that really annoyed the hell out of me about this game is that the knife breaks.
Yeah, so you have to find a new one. That's one thing that... And also, if you stab a zombie with it, you have to kill that zombie to get it back.
Yeah.
So, but I kind of like that because it puts the horror back into it.
Yeah, like but at the same time, it makes me think of Breath of the Wild, and I almost got a Nintendo Switch because of that. But then when I found out that the weapons break, I'm like, I don't want to spend half my damn game time looking for new goddamn weapons all the time.
So just go out the Breath of the Wild. You get so many weapons, though, that it doesn't matter. And it's all the same.
I like staying in the experience. I don't want to have to keep thinking about my damn weapon about to break. It's like, oh, cool, I'm 2 hits away from killing this damn hobgoblin. Oh, my weapon just broke on the last hit, and now it's still alive. It's like, what the hell?
So I've been a little bit quiet because I've been looking up some fun facts about Resident Evil. One I thought that was really interesting is that the original movie actually was George Romero was reached to do it, but he was going to make it more lines of the original game. But the producers at Capcom didn't like that, so they fired him from it.
No, they were changing it. He was changing it. So I read that same article. So George A. Romero originally was going to have it like he was watching his assistant play the original game. And so what he was going to do, he was changing Chris Redfield to be a Native American of the land, and him and Jill were going to have a be the love interest. He wasn't. Stars was just a subsidiary of Umbrella. And
that's not what it says in here.
But yeah, the one I read, he changed a lot of things, and they're like, nope, sorry, we don't want you changing that much. And then they just changed everything.
Fair enough.
But going back to the Resident Evil movies, like honestly, if you want a good horror movie, watch the first one. It's not the best. The
Degeneration.
Yeah, the OG or the CG is. Some of it holds up really well, some of it doesn't. But it's the only one that actually makes you fear for Alice and the rest of the crew because like. The Licker's super OP in this movie, and he's super badass, which is really cool because I feel like the Lickers have always been a main staple and just so terrifying. Like, and it's so good.
They're crawling on the damn ceiling.
Yep, and then, but like if you want just some good B-movie romps afterwards, like the Resident Evil movies are pretty decent to watch. Like some of them delve more into horror, but some of them don't. And like that's what I think also affected the games, is the games slowly became more and more and more and more action oriented as they went on. It just kind of ruined the games. And then Resident Evil 7 came out, and
that's a whole new terrifying level of
fuck. Like the first time I played it, like right when you see Jack in the very beginning and he just walks by, when you're outside the house, you just like, nope. I don't want to do this anymore. Fuck my wife. My wife can, she's dead.
like the one thing that bugged me about the Resident Evil movies, what I think it was the third one, where the whole world's a damn desert.
Yeah, that's
where the fuck did all that damn water go? Just because there's a virus don't mean all the water's going to go poof. The water's got to go somewhere. It can't leave the damn atmosphere. I don't know why that bugs me so damn much, but it does. It's like, cool, it doesn't matter how bad the damn apocalypse is, the water's still going to be there. I mean, the damn dinosaur drank it and pissed it out, so there's a chance your water was dinosaur piss at one point.
Well, and the other thing that's super shitty about it, too, is that, like, it goes from the desert, then all of a sudden it's a highly populated area in the next one, then the entire world is just, like, destroyed in the following one. It's like, it just keeps flip-flopping.
I understand the world being destroyed, but where the hell did the damn water go? The water ain't just going to go poof. If the water's poofed, then your whole planet's fucked.
No, water's poofed.
That don't make any damn sense.
It's poofed.
I think they were like
poof itself.
I think they were around like Las Vegas at the time.
Oh, because like there's a cutaway showing the whole damn planet without any damn water.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
It's been a hot minute since I watched that one. To be fair,
It's like, I don't know why that's the one scene that sticks out to me, but it just bugs the shit out of me. That's like, don't make any damn sense.
You want to read a couple interesting facts about it? The Resident Evil 2 remake.
Sure. According to Capcom, this game is a new entry to the series rather than just a remake. I could see that because they did.
Yeah, they retconned the original Resident Evil 2 for this one.
Yeah, they retconned that, and they also, and I feel like they pretty much just retconned all of the Resident Evil series after 2 with this one.
Yeah.
7's still canon.
Okay. Good.
Just Chris isn't so steroid up anymore.
Thank God.
Yeah, from what I know, I could be wrong, but as far as I know, 7's still canon because they're going to try and do something with Chris Redfield later on.
Yeah, because the DLC had Chris Redfield in it.
The likeness of Leon S. Kennedy and Claire Redfield are based on models Edward Badaluda and Jordan McEwen, respectively. McEwen wasn't credited for her work as her modeling agency didn't want her name to be revealed. However,
Until us.
Bam! However, she confirmed her involvement in the project on Instagram, saying that she went to Osaka in 2016 to work with Capcom.
Campcom. She went camping.
Capcom.
This game also introduces the red and blue herb combination, which not only cures poisoning, but also makes the player temporarily invulnerable to it. It will also increase the defense for a while.
I mean, if you're playing it right, you don't damn need it.
No, you don't.
But yeah. I do, because I suck.
But yeah, I will say, like, with horror games, like, in general, like, I know a lot of people who are horror movie fans who don't like horror games, and then vice versa. One thing I will say, like, when playing horror video games, like, you definitely need... Atmosphere is everything. And so, like we were saying in the last one, like, you know, how you were talking about a good horror game, what it needs and everything.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, the ingredients for a good horror game.
I don't even think it just goes past, like, just the game itself. Like, you want to be... Like, I think to get the most out of a horror game, you need to be playing in the dark or, like, by yourself or something like that. Or if you're having someone else play it, like, you know, the dark helps. And so, like, I highly, highly, highly recommend people playing horror video games if you're a video gamer. Like, yeah, I know everyone has their own taste. Everyone likes, you know, you have your Call of Duties and stuff like that, or your action games. But playing a horror game is, like, different on a whole other level of stress. Because, like, I don't know how many times I got literally sweaty playing Resident Evil 7 because I was freaking out so fucking much. I was just like, oh god, no. And then to, you know, like, make myself feel better, I'll go watch a Resident Evil movie just because they're so goddamn campy.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to add into that because it's a pretty encompassing statement right there. I mean, it's just, I mean, you know, we've always wanted more immersion into our favorite horror movies than we get it with horror video games. And, you know, whether it's Resident Evil or Friday the 13th or Dead by Daylight, Clock Tower or
Evil Within,
any of them, we get that advantage and we get that opportunity to do that. And that's kind of something that we just need to be happy about and really encourage our developers to keep making solid horror video games.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And like the other cool thing that I meant to add into the last episode, but so I've been playing the Rise of the Tomb Raider. Yeah, that was the second one, right?
Yeah.
I think
so I was playing Rise of the Tomb Raider, and the DLC was all about the tale of Baba Yaga, which I thought was freaking great. They threw horror elements into a hardcore survival, you know, well, quote unquote hardcore, but a survival game like Tomb Raider, and they threw in Baba Yaga because she goes, you know, Tomb Raider, Lara Croft goes through the tombs and researches all these like myths and everything, and like that was intense.
Hell, I would even say the first one. Even the first one had its moments of intensity.
Oh yeah, with the ghost chick, the ghost lady and everything. Like it had its elements of horror, and so like I like when in heavy action games they throw in the horror elements of not just dread because, you know, Laura has to survive in this element, but like they throw in like mythical creatures like Baba Yaga, the ghost chick from the first one. I always forget her name. The Ghost of the Sun or something like shit like that.
The old Chinese empress.
Yeah, and so like when they throw those elements in, you can see there is a want for horror, like more horror games that aren't just zombies, like Overkill's The Walking Dead, which flopped like fucking. I was so looking forward to that game. But like, you know, that, and then Days Gone's coming up. The new World War Z game's coming up. Fucking, there's another Left 4 Dead game coming up, which I'm super excited for, even though it's not Left 4 Dead 3. It's a whole nother thing.
Made by the original Left 4 Dead team, though.
Yes, but so it's Left 4 Dead 3 without being Left 4 Dead 3.
Last of Us 2.
Left 4 Dead 3.
Last of Us 2. But again, those are all zombie-oriented games, and I feel like with the, you know, the success of the Tomb Raider games, like, yeah, they're not like mainstream. They're not full front and everything. I mean, shit, Shadow of the Tomb Raider just kind of came out of nowhere. But, like, they were so beloved, and then they throw in these horror elements, and people lap that shit up. Like, and with the success of Resident Evil 2, which is way better than Kingdom Hearts 3, you sons of bitches. Should have gotten the Game of the Year award, or the Game of the Month award, not fucking Kingdom Hearts 3.
Well, you know, there's still time to get Game of the Year.
It should fucking better. Whatever. Everyone you know Kingdom Hearts 3 is gonna fucking get it just because it's Kingdom Hearts 3 and everyone waited so fucking long for it, even though it's a terrible game. I will fight you.
You know what's gonna get me is that when Borderlands 3 finally drops, it's gonna be another flop.
I hope not, man. I hope not. But like going back to horror, even in the Borderlands games, there's horror elements and stuff like that. The very first one had the whole Frankenstein DLC.
Yeah.
And so like there's a need and a want and a need for horror games, and I feel like just because we have this small resurgence, like the fact that like horror movies are becoming so good right now that like I feel like I'm really hoping that the horror video games are going to strive away from just walking simulators and zombie games. Like Observer, I feel like is such a good fucking horror game. Like, because you feel uneasy and everything, but it's also a walking simulator. And same with Bendy. Like, there's all kinds of cool things, but I feel, and it's just like, I want more. But at the same time, it's like, I just don't want another zombie game. Like, as much as I love the Resident Evil games, I also feel like they kind of tainted the horror video games and horror video game movies because it has to be a zombie to be scary.
My hope is, since, you know, the Lucasfilms games got relaunched, maybe Visceral Games can come back and reboot the Dead Space series.
We can hope, and that is a discussion for another day.
But what I love is that Visceral used to be under another company name owned by EA, and then they were trying to change their tactics. Then they changed to Visceral Games, and when EA canned them, they went down with the Dead Space title, not allowing EA to reboot Dead Space. So I'm hoping that maybe one day we can, you know, I'll even take a remaster.
I want the remastered versions of Dead Space so bad.
And that is a discussion for another day. So we're at the end of this episode before we get into a whole nother conversation.
Bite me, bitch!
So, I mean, obviously there's a huge amount of love that we have for all these games and all these titles and what we want to talk about. And that is something that is quite apparent. And I think it's something that we need to always continue to talk about is bringing these games back and bringing our Dead Spaces back and bringing all of, you know, our Silent Hills and our Legacy of Kains and our Fatal Frames, everything back, because we still want them and we still want to play with them. And if you agree or you have any thoughts on this, let us know. Reach out to us on our Facebook, Punk Rock Horror Podcast on Facebook, or on our Twitter @officialprhp, or
on Instagram, Punk Rock Horror Podcast, #PRHP Podcast.
And if you want to, you can listen to us wherever you can get your podcast, which is iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Player FM, YouTube, our website, www.punkrockhorrorpodcast.com. If you want to support the show, please go over to patreon.com/Punk Rock Horror Podcast. Go ahead, get yourself a Punk Rock Horror Podcast shirt, a Ghoul or Gal shirt, some stickers. The store is going to be continually updated with more and more products. Billy, is there anything you want to mention?
I ain't got shit, so you can't at me, motherfuckers.
So you can't at him. With that being said, thank you again for tuning in for another episode of the Punk Rock Horror Podcast. And with that, we are out. Podcast over.
Podcast over.
Bye.
Bye.